Okay, Vicky, where are you from and what is Clear Returns?
I'm from Glasgow. I'm CEO of Clear Returns, and we work with retailers to predict and prevent returns. So we look at the products that are going to come back, we look at the descriptions that are causing products to return, and we look at the customers who maybe never shop again as a result of a return.
And how do you do that? Is it software algorithms? How do you make sure? It's hard enough to get a sale in the first place. So not to say that's hard. So how do you make sure then that not only are you a happy customer, but they're not going to return the goods they bought?
Yeah, that's a really good point, because it's not actually a sale until the customer has decided to keep it. And return rates from online in the UK are about 30%, which is massive. In Germany, they're closer to 60%. So all of those goods are kind of going out and then they're coming straight back again and incurring costs all the way across the line. Sometimes that's down to the product, sometimes that's down to the marketing campaign, and sometimes that's actually down to the customer's shopping behaviour. So I'm a classic one for this. I order everything and then I choose at home. And I can be sitting on an awful lot of high value stock. So the challenge for the retailer is to try and get that back quicker, but also to not encourage my expensive habits. So that's really how we play. It's data, it's artificial intelligence, it's machine learning algorithms, and it's really, really hardcore data. So we pull all the retailers' data in, we tidy it up, clean it up, we look for all the patterns, we compare it against patterns we've seen in other places, and then we feed back information to them that they can actually act on. So that might be, reorder this great product, don't reorder that product, change the description, send this lady some flowers, that kind of thing.
There is another element to it, and I may be going down the wrong path here, but I've also heard that there's a rising trend in chargeback fraud as well, where people are gaming the actual system. Is that something you're engaged in helping defend against?
Yeah, we do see returns fraud. So at the extreme end, you see people that have got, as customers, they have been refunded more than they've spent. So that can be credit card fraud or chargeback fraud. That can be buying an original and returning a fake. It can be stealing the product and then getting a refund. And it can be staff fraud as well. So people might be people buying it on discount and refunding it at full price. We see all of those things.
And what's next for you guys? I mean, you pitched today. You won an IBM competition in Dublin a few years ago, which is great. Yeah. Congratulations. What's next on the horizon for you guys? How are you growing? What's the next stage in your journey?
So the big next step for us is the US. So we've already got ad hoc US retailers coming to us, but we want a physical presence in the US by the new year. So I want salespeople, business development people, customer support in a US office. That's next for us, because there's so much demand and it's such a timely problem. We're now scaling up really to be able to address that fast and to take advantage of the market opportunity and the fact that we were first and the fact that we have the IP.
So WizeNoze is a Dutch company. We're located in Amsterdam, and what we try to do is we try to make the internet a better place for children. So if a child uses the current search engines to find information, it's obviously very often an overload of information, but the information that gets through is very hard to read. What we try to do is to develop technology that discloses the results based on the reading level of a child.
That's very interesting. How do you figure that out? I mean, I'm sure algorithms and IP come into this, but if a child is simply typing into a search engine or looking for something, I mean, you're able to discern how old they are, is that right?
Yeah, so when a child uses our technology, we ask the child their age, and based on their age, we do an estimate of their reading level. A child can always choose to choose a different, a harder to read level or an easier reading level.
And what is the technology itself speaks for itself. I mean, being able to do that is great. Is the core reason for doing so, is it for safety, or is it for ensuring a more richer, safer, or not safer, but more relevant search result?
Well, it's actually both. It's I do think that there is a lot of content on there that is not really suitable for children, but I also think it's a very hard task for a child to find relevant information. And there's another part about my company, because there is not a lot of content online that has been written for easier reading levels. And actually, it's not only suitable for children. Lots of adults are also suffering for very hard to read articles. Think of people, low literate, immigrants, second language learners. So what we also made is a content editing tool that helps editors to rewrite a difficult text into an easier text.
Could you tell me a bit about how the algorithms and the IP was developed to make WizeNoze do what it does?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, it starts that I have a very, very specialized team of PhDs that are specialized in natural language processing and machine learning. And what we do is we train the algorithm on the different reading levels. So it needs to recognize whether a content or text is suitable for an 8-year-old or for a 14-year-old, or the different reading levels for adults. And that's actually our IP, and that is what we do with our algorithm. It can automatically detect the reading level of a text. What we do is we fly above the internet, we search for sources that have content written in different reading levels, and then we add those to our search engine. And on the other hand, we approach companies that make content, that do have content producers, to help them and to write into an easier level.
Brilliant. And I suppose then also, just could you tell me where your company is on its development there in terms of, like today you're obviously pitching to investors. What's the next stage on your journey as a company?
Yeah, so we're live with the Dutch version. We launched that in August last year, and in the meantime we developed the English version, and we will go live with the English version after the summer. So that's where we are, and right now I'm thinking of a market introduction in the UK, in the US, in Ireland, with our English version.
Unravel Analytics is a company based here in Dublin. We've created a software as a service called Unravel, which is a QA tool for tagging. We help companies test all their advertising and analytics tags, increases return on advertising spend, and reduces tag testing time.
Because that's the thing, most people think it's a case of just build it and they will come. Like the internet's a field of dreams, but there's a lot of plumbing to it. It's a lot of hard work.
There's a lot of plumbing. I mean, our customers would have in excess of 100 different tags on their site. It is impossible to manually test them. And we've engaged with over 100 companies over the last 3 years, and let me tell you, in 100% of cases, the data was wrong. That same data is used to power their advertising campaigns. So you are talking about mismanaging advertising spend, losing opportunities to convert, and generally leaving money on the table.
Yeah, it's throwing money down the drain, really.
Yeah, very much so. And that investment in online advertising globally is going to be worth 225 billion in 2017. So it is a huge consideration now, and the next wave of opportunity for online sales is very much going to come from improved data quality.
Well, especially with the rise of things like ad blocking and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
You know, you want to really make sure your spending and your accuracy is so precise.
Absolutely, it needs to be, and if it's not, well, you're reducing shareholder value. So it's as fundamental as that to a business. And online sales are no longer a channel. You know, they are strategically the channel for most of the businesses that we work with. In travel, for example, up to 50% of revenue would be spent on paid search to acquire and convert customers. So when you're really talking about those kind of figures and the strategic importance, to not have any validation or auditing that the data collection point is actually working is insane, really.
And in terms of the journey that you guys are on, where are you at in your journey? I mean, you mentioned you've got customers. Are customers local or are they international? How is that going for you?
Yeah, our customers are international. Our pipeline would be 80-90% EMEA and US based. We are dealing with enterprise sites that would be generating, in excess of $50 million annually on site. So our market is very much a global one, which is great. We're still early stage with our product. We've just closed a seed round, so we've just raised €600,000. So we're on the road to doubling the size of our team by the end of this year, closing out on some of our product features and really bringing the product to market.
So we're based just south of Oxford, and we are a business that is targeting improving food safety, mainly by improving the hygiene of the environments in which we grow, process and prepare food.
How does that work? I mean, we all mean to have a really healthy environment for our food, but there's no way of guaranteeing it. How do you make sure the environment is right?
Okay. Well, most of us are not really worried about where we prepare our food, because we do that in our home and we take full responsibility for it. We're talking about the food processing industry, which increasingly making the preparation of cooked chill foods, etc. You're really trusting them to do the right thing for you. And there are really good, strong standards operating in Europe, so you probably can. But we're helping them take away things like salmonella and listeria and Campylobacter norovirus that account in Europe for 23 million food poisonings every year, and about, unfortunately, 5,000 deaths in very extreme cases.
And can you tell me a bit about the science behind your methods that help you detect and prevent food poisoning? I suppose it's the one thing we want to avoid, but any other kind of contaminations too?
So other contamination you're going to have to rely on other technology for. We're turning salt and water into a really powerful disinfectant that's very safe to use. It exploits an antimicrobial chemistry that the human immune system evolved many millennia to do years ago to protect itself from bacterial infections, and we're taking that out into the big wide world and using it on equipment used in the food factories, in greenhouses where we're growing crops, and increasingly into the restaurant industry as well.
And I suppose just tell me where you are in terms of your journey now, in terms of as a startup moving into the bigger, broader world. How are you doing in terms of investment? What are your next goals as a company?
Okay, so I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done this many times. Was involved in my first stock market listing at age 26. And I co-founded a business with some of the guys who ran computing at CERN and gave Tim Berners-Lee his first computer. So we've done this once or twice. We're beyond startup. We've got products that we're selling in the marketplace. We have external investors. We're delighted to have Astia's international angel community participate in our last round, who were joined by Wheatsheaf, which is the specialist VC fund of the Grosvenor Group, the Duke of Westminster in London.
Want to be in the audience next time? Click here for tickets to Inspirefest 2017.